Silver Ridge Mountains and beside the wide Blue River Eloan, there stood a powerful land called the Kingdom of Lorien. At the heart of Lorien stood two great castles. One was Suncrest Palace, built of white marble and crowned with golden towers that shimmered in the sunlight. It was ruled by King Alexander Rowan, a strong and disciplined ruler known for his pride and sense of honor. The other castle stood miles away near the peaceful forests of Emerald Vale. It was smaller, built of gray stone, surrounded by tall pine trees and soft morning mist. There lived Queen Elena Rowan, the king's younger sister. Once, Alexander and Elena had been inseparable. As children, they ran through palace gardens, laughed beneath cherry blossom trees, and promised they would always protect each other. But love changed everything. Years earlier, Elena had fallen in love with Daniel Hart, a brave but humble soldier. He was loyal, kind, and courageous, though he was not born into royalty. When Elena asked her brother for permission to marry him, Alexander refused. "You are royalty," he said firmly. "You cannot give up our family's honor." Elena chose love instead of the throne. Hurt and angry, Alexander asked her to leave Suncrest Palace. Elena left without turning back. She and Daniel built a quiet life in Emerald Vale. Their days were simple but joyful, until conflict reached the kingdom. Daniel lost his life while protecting the land he loved. Elena was left alone with their daughter, Lily Hart. Lily grew up strong and independent. She rode horses through forest trails, practiced archery by the river, and climbed rocky cliffs overlooking the valley. She carried her father's courage and her mother's gentle heart. Sometimes late at night, she would notice her mother looking toward the distant golden towers of Suncrest Palace. "Why do you look at it like that?" Lily once asked softly. Elena smiled gently. "Some stories are too heavy for children." Meanwhile in Suncrest Palace, Prince Adrian Rowan, King Alexander's only son, grew into a tall and thoughtful young man. He was skilled with a sword and respected by soldiers, but he often felt alone. His mother had passed away when he was young, and his father's strict nature left little room for warmth. Adrian often stood on the highest balcony at sunset, watching the sky turn pink and gold. He would quietly wonder if power was truly more important than love. One autumn afternoon, trouble arose near the northern border. A fierce struggle broke out near Emerald Vale. Rain fell from dark clouds and thunder echoed across the sky. Prince Adrian led his men into action. In the confusion, he was separated from his guards and fell from his horse. In the middle of the storm, weak and injured, he saw someone running toward him. It was Lily. She had been gathering herbs when she heard the sounds of conflict. Without hesitation, she helped Adrian away from danger and into the forest. She brought him to her home in Emerald Vale. For days, she cared for him. She treated his injuries, changed his bandages, and stayed awake through the night while rain tapped softly against the windows. They did not know each other's true identities. They only knew how they felt. As Adrian recovered, they began to talk more. They sat beside the fireplace. They walked by the river at sunrise. They laughed beneath falling autumn leaves. "You don't seem like a soldier," Lily teased gently one evening. "And you don't seem like someone who is afraid of anything," Adrian replied with a soft smile. Their hands touched briefly. Neither of them pulled away too quickly. When Adrian returned to the palace, he carried more than healed injuries. He carried Lily in his heart. Weeks later, King Alexander announced a grand unity ball at Suncrest Palace, inviting leaders from across the land, including Queen Elena of Emerald Vale. Elena hesitated, but Lily encouraged her to attend. "It is time to stop running from the past," Lily said. That night, the palace glowed with chandeliers, silk banners, and music flowing through golden halls. When Elena entered the grand ballroom, the crowd grew quiet. King Alexander stood still at the top of the staircase. Years of silence stood between them. Then Adrian saw Lily across the room. Time seemed to pause. Their eyes met, filled with surprise and understanding. He realized who she was. Tension filled the hall as old memories said firmly, if loving her dishonors the crown, then the crown means nothing. For the first time in many years, King Alexander's pride softened. He looked at his sister, dignified and strong. He looked at his son, brave and sincere. He realized he had protected his throne but almost lost his family. Before everything could be resolved, urgent news arrived. The same raiders had returned. Without hesitation, Alexander turned to Elena. Will you stand with me? Elena nodded. Side by side, brother and sister rode out together. Adrian and Lily stood together as well, defending the kingdom not for pride, but for love. Peace was restored. And something else ended that day too. The long silence within the Rowan family. Months later, Suncrest Palace shone brighter than ever. Adrian and Lily were married in the palace gardens beneath blooming white roses. King Alexander embraced his sister before the entire kingdom. Emerald Vale and Suncrest were united once more. Peace returned to Lorien. And the people remembered that true strength comes not from power, but from forgiveness and love.